train, waiting on a train. Everybody's waiting on a train. Come to town just to sit around. Everybody's waiting on a train. I know a good little bit of band with all these growth campaign. Same exit at 55, and it makes me mad. Am I still waiting on a train?
Welcome into the Boardroom Podcast. I'm Ward 6 Alderman Ben Piper.
Ward 4 Alderman Chad Wicker.
We have an exciting guest. I think the downloads are going to go through the roof.
Big time.
Yeah, when we announce this. We have Ward 1 Alderman Natalie Lynch joining us here. And just in case anybody's like, oh, they're, they shouldn't all be meeting at the same time. You can have up to 3 aldermen meet at one time, and it doesn't cause any issues because the majority of the board's not here. So we're kind of going to do a little series where we start bringing in some of the existing board members before we get into our second term here serving the city of Hernando. And we just had a recent episode with the new alderman-elect, so we decided to bring in these existing board members as well to kind of talk
We
with
only
them
do one
as well.
at a time because of what you just said. So
Exactly. So Natalie, welcome in.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. So we are in the upper room of Baker's Corner. Shout out Baker's Corner, free ad.
Here are the quickie chairs.
Yeah, come and get you. I've got an iced coffee here. It's pretty delicious. They said they reformulated it. It tastes a little less acidic than normal, so
Okay.
I don't know. Maybe that's just me.
I got you.
Got a
It's
hot
pretty
tea.
tasty.
That's my drink of choice.
Hot tea
Hot
is
tea?
hot tea. I'm telling you, she's a professional. She's got the tea for the
Keep
vocal
the
cord
vocal
deal.
cords going.
Mhm.
She knows what she's doing.
Yep,
Man.
absolutely. So so we had a Board of Aldermen meeting on June 3rd. We're recording this a little bit late, but we'll go through this really quickly.
Very, very short meeting.
Yeah, pretty short meeting. I would say the things that got the most discussion was one, an approval for a Renasant Park splash pad professional services agreement with Kimley-Horn. We also had, let's give a shout out to the Garden Club first.
Yes.
Because I want to say that I think we all, love to have some beautification around our homes. I will never win Yard of the Month. I don't think it's ever going to happen. But I do appreciate it. We did have...
If y'all didn't know, the Garden Club has been around since 1933.
Wow.
Holy moly, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Wow. It's just in here in Hernando.
Hernando.
Holy moly. Okay. Yeah, I didn't know that. But we proclaimed it to be National let me make sure this is right. National Garden Week. So we had a proclamation for that, and then we also gave a presentation of a community service award to the Hernando Civic Garden Club. Now, Natalie, you are a member of that club, correct?
Yes, I'm a member.
And they're very active. I see them do stuff all over.
We are really active. If y'all don't know, we just did a planting around the sign at the Gale Center.
Okay.
We
Okay.
received a grant from Plant America, and that's what we used the grant for. And so it just got finished up this week. We've been working on it for a while, and we worked with Jared Barkley, our parks director, and got some native plants and some different. They're interesting. Some are flowering, some are just shrub-like, and so stop by and check it out.
Absolutely. And I may be wrong. I think this is right. Didn't y'all plant a bunch along Oak Grove Road, like right where the cemetery is? Did y'all plant a bunch
The daffodils.
The daffodils right there?
Yes.
Oh man, every time I was dropping my daughter off at Oak Grove Central, like we were driving past those and she wanted to know what they were. And when I was growing up, I remember my grandmama calling them Johnny Quills.
Johnny Quills.
Right? And I was
Georgia.
like, yeah, I don't know. And I'd be like, oh yeah, they're John Quills. And she
Some
was
people
like,
call them buttercups.
buttercups, all these different names or whatever else. And she was like, my teacher said those are daffodils. And I was like, well, I don't know. Just call them what you want.
What you call them?
John Quills.
John Quills. Okay.
Right?
That is a name, yes.
I don't know. That must be like maybe an old name. I don't know. Maybe a different species or something. I don't know. You didn't know this, but we're going to be talking about flowers a lot on this podcast apparently
That's right.
today. So we got some good flower content. That's good stuff. We appreciate the Hernando Civic Garden Club and all the things they do. I'm telling you, they bring stuff to us. I feel like every year, like new projects and things they want to get done, and help beautify the city. So we appreciate them. Moving on to the approval for the Renasant Park splash pad professional services agreement with Kimley-Horn. This is part of the master plan at Renasant Park. Was a little bit of discussion about it that was kind of kind of bled into the next issue about on-street parking and that sort of thing. But ultimately the city is going to have what we hope to be about a $2 million grant from Blue Cross Blue Shield that comes in. This service agreement will allow Kimley-Horn to design this splash pad, and we'll be able to execute the grant and get this thing constructed.
And it also includes that natural play area.
Yeah.
That's right. So that will be, from what I've understood, it is like they work within the topography, I guess, that's existing, so that way they can put slides in and
It's like
tunnels and all kind of stuff.
Shelby Farms has something similar to that out there.
Okay. So it should be really great. It's going to be a good
Shelby
size.
lost her wedding ring out there when we first got married. So if you're
where?
ever at Shelby Farms, at that natural play area when Reeves was small, we were married for about 2 years and she lost it.
Oh no!
Are you
Never to be
serious?
found?
Oh my gosh.
She got home, was like, oh my gosh, my ring's gone, and so it's out there somewhere. Somebody found it.
We need to, we can get out there with the metal detector, see if we can find it. So you had to replace it.
Oh yeah.
Man, that's an expense right there.
Well,
Well,
it was just a wedding band. It wasn't the engagement ring, just the band.
Gotcha. Well, from everything that I've heard, it's going to be a really nice, it's going to be something different for that part. It was something that I think the big thing that people have expressed in that Williamsbrook subdivision is that there's kind of a lot of coming and going already from that space. So
I think also once we get Renasant Park built, and there's going to have a pretty substantial parking lot there, that may help with some of that.
yeah, that's true. Well, because right now they have a ton of like erosion control.
There's no parking out there at all. Like where the people get pictures right there at that bridge, there's no parking there. I mean, you have to park at the skate park and walk all the way over there, and so people just park in that cove and take pictures. So,
Gotcha. When that one month of time when I committed to running, I would run in that.
Hey, Natalie's a runner. She's running.
I know. Y'all can smoke me and running every time. But that 1 month I was committed to it, I really like going and run that. Run all the trails in there.
It's about a 3 mile if you do the whole thing. So.
Yeah, it's pretty challenging.
Got a tough hill there.
Yeah, it does.
It's pretty challenging. No shame. I walked the hill because I was like, I'm not running up this hill. I ain't trying to pass out on this hill. So I'm sure our fire department appreciated me not trying to run up the hill too, because they'd have to come pick me up. But that's the big news there.
I mean, a $2 million, splash pad. I think that's going to be exciting. So, be a good feature to add to that. We're going to have the baseball fields and the disc golf and all that. So it's just another element there. I think it was in the master plan, wasn't it, Natalie? Wasn't it in the master plan?
It was in the most recent master plan that we approved.
I think there was some. I think it was added in at some point along the way.
I don't think it was in the original one they did almost 15 years ago. I think it was the one we did in 2021.
That's correct. I do think that it's something that I've definitely heard from some residents over in there that just say, look, like there are people coming and going.
Sure.
Especially on really nice days, and I get why they have those concerns. And I'm like you. I hope that the parking,
Well, it's a substantial parking lot coming with the baseball and all that. So
right.
And with the pavilion area.
Yeah, pavilion, disc golf, the whole deal. So
We got to get out there and do some disc golf whenever that happens. I'm kind of interested to see how
I think we
my
might
frisbee
need
skills are still going.
like a city tournament or something.
We got to do
we're
something.
supposed to have a basketball tournament. Y'all never will play.
Man, I don't know. I don't know if I can hold up. If it was like a 3-point shooting contest, I might.
Okay.
I would. I mean, I know I would win that, but like if I had to go up and down the court, that'd be a scene. So that does lead into the next thing that we talked about is a discussion of on-street parking.
Sure.
And kind of limiting that. Definitely had some people show up that had some concerns with that.
Well, I've had people talk about that for several years now, and so I kind of brought the idea, let's talk about it, and maybe I think we decided to form a committee. But I think in any subdivision, there's issues with on-street parking. I think, Natalie, you had mentioned some that you'd heard about from the bus driver, I think. But it's, Edgewater, I think they have some issues there. That guy has been pretty vocal. He's emailed me several times. Homeowners Association president or whatever his name is. I think he was at the meeting.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So, and I don't know what the answer is, but I think we need to look at doing something. So,
It's a tough issue. I know that sometimes people will say, well, let's do, you can't park overnight, right? And it's, no overnight street parking. And you have situations where, sometimes you got a guest for the night, right? And
Well,
like,
I got a call this morning from somebody who said, hey, I backed out of my driveway and got hit because I couldn't see a car coming because cars were parked on the street. And this is in the older area of Hernando there. And so I don't know what the answer is. It's the police chief, I think we can legally do something. I just don't know what that is. If we outlaw that in certain cities, certain parts of the city where you can't park, or based on I think one thing I had put out to everybody was there's the width of the street. If it's so wide, maybe 2 cars can park. If it's not as wide, 1 car, and if it's so narrow that no cars can park. So that's something we look at. And
especially in your ward.
Yeah, well, Terra
You've
Drive
got
is covered up pretty good. And there's several factors. I mean, I think you have driveways are not built in a certain period of time. The driveways were a lot narrower than we require now, so there's not enough. Only 2 cars maybe could park, and now you have husband, wife, 3 or 4 kids are all driving. There's just not enough room for the vehicles. Maybe you have roommate situations. There's several different factors there.
Well, and a lot of people, I think, use typically, well, I don't want to say typically, but I think a lot of people do use their garages for storage more than they do
that's another part of it,
parking
too.
2 cars in there.
And a lot of times it's when people are parked on both sides of the road, and then it narrows it down to one
That's what
lane
happened
of
last
traffic.
night, yeah.
So that's difficult.
And like the lady at the meeting was talking about maybe a emergency vehicle not being able to get to somebody because the roads are so blocked with street parking. So
There's definitely a lot going, and we mentioned during the meeting as well, is that you have neighborhoods that have what we call open ditch. So there's no curb there.
yeah, you're out in the wilderness, man. You don't even have sidewalks over here.
Yeah, basically. And so if you have an open ditch neighborhood like the one where I live, I mean, you can park on the grass more or less. You could have 75% of your car out of the way. Does that mean people do it? No. They still park. They don't necessarily get in the grass, right? Depending on if it's raining or not.
And I'm not.
So there's going to be different. And I'm saying that from a standpoint.
Well, I'm just saying. I think my issue is
different.
not necessarily if somebody's having a fish fry and having a bunch of people over. I think that's fine. The issue is I think these cars are there every day, parked in the road,
Right.
Obstructing traffic. So.
Right. It's still, I mean, we've definitely had the situation. I know when we brought it up, I think I told you the story of like, we're trying to get out of our cove, and sometimes you have people parked on both sides of the road, and you have to kind of figure out like which neighbor is having something going on, so we can kind of get through or whatever.
That's right.
And sometimes people just aren't thinking about it.
That's right.
They're in a hurry. We're all busy people, and you're just looking for a place to park and go. But that'll be something we continue to look at. I think between the planning department and the police department,
Yes.
trying to pull some data for us so we can understand it a little bit better and what the options would be. We also had a discussion of
Paving next,
paving.
right?
Yeah, we had the road overlay projects. Paving is always one of those things that I think you and I talk about a good bit, and I think every alderman has a list of streets that they need paved constantly. I think it's one of those things that we've tried to really stay on top of the last 4 years. Right? I mean,
Definitely.
I think that's why we added to the meeting was to keep the discussion going. We approved some paving, I think like last October or something. It's been a while. We finished that. I want to go ahead and start doing some more. So I think we are. I think we got the discussion started. So I think we're going to get some paving done here soon.
Yeah, I feel like it's just like a never-ending. We will never have the streets paved. I mean, it's just.
Well, we have a revenue source now. We've talked about that, I think, on the show with the sales tax. So we get about $700,000 twice a year. If in Chad's opinion, I think we should just be constantly doing paving every time we get that money in. And so, and it don't necessarily always be paving. It can be I think the crack seal or whatever, some other stuff that we talked about doing. Just trying to maintain. But the report that we had says we're supposed to spend like $2.5 million a year just to maintain what we got, and we're nowhere close to that. So.
yeah.
Well, I'm also hoping that number is a little inflated if we think about how much money we saved on the McInville overlay. So maybe those numbers from last summer are a little bit higher because the price of the asphalt fluctuates so much.
Sure, yeah. And I've been looking at that little report that we talked about at the meeting, what's the Civil Link, and so there's not that many streets that are rated are lower than a 4. I mean, it's not many. So I think we just tackle those and work our way up.
Yeah, absolutely. I think one of the good things that came out of all that is that and that has happened since then is Civil Link essentially more or less has a website that the aldermen can access now. We all have logins to access the website and see kind of what's the condition of the roads. They have videos of what the streets look like, and we can hopefully make better real-time decisions
And this
on
is
that.
and this is just a question. Didn't they say they were going to update some of the roads that we have paved?
Yes.
Because
Yes.
some of it needs to be updated.
Yeah, I noticed some that were still.
Because we've done a lot of paving in the last 3 or 4 years, and so there's some there that need to be updated for sure.
And I think some of them too. The other challenge is, there was one in my ward that connected to a county road. Well, the county did the project, so it's like, are we gonna? We got to make sure all these things are communicated. So there's always a lot going on in that world for sure. We want to try to continue to stay on top of it. Backenville was a huge project. I'm glad that road's back open again. If you didn't know that already, you can go ride on it. Just it's not Talladega. It's 40 miles an hour, even though it might feel like. It's that smooth asphalt underneath it. It's still 40 mile an hour.
When is the county going to do the traffic signal, whatever, at Pleasant Hill? And
I'm not sure on that. I'm really not sure what the ETA is on a traffic signal at that intersection. They do have the 4-way stop that's been completed up there, but I have not seen.
I thought we talked. I thought we were going to do a cost share with them to do some type of traffic
feel
signal
like-
or a roundabout or
I
something.
feel like we did already sign that. I hope it gets up before July 31st.
I don't think it's going to be open for the school.
I did see that for those of y'all that travel up that way, that there's orange cones out now at the Green Tea and Mackinville intersection
yes.
for the roundabout that'll be installed there over the next 45 to 60 days. I hope it's more on the 45 side and less on the 60 side, but
If they wouldn't start school so stinking early now, I think we've been all right. July 31st is tough, man. Jeez.
It is tough. But as someone who has a summer birthday, I was always kind of like jealous of the kids that had birthdays during the school year because it was like everybody got their little day or whatever, and I was like, mine's in July. No one's, I don't get like some big to do at school. So it's a little bit closer to my birthday, but that's okay. I get it. It's definitely an early start time. All right, so that was our agenda. That was most of the discussion that went on. And if you have a street, we'll say this: if you have a street, if you're listening to this, pop in our comments and say, hey, listen. We've really got some concerns on our street specifically. We're always looking for more feedback on that. If you've got whether it's a pothole issue or something like that we can come and patch, we'd love to get on top of that for y'all. So drop those in the comments.
I think people have seen that we've invested in paving. People have come up to me and said, hey, appreciate it. You got a road paved, or I've seen this road's paved. So I think people are seeing it. We just got to keep going at it. So
that's right. All right, so one thing that we wanted, one of the reasons why we wanted to bring Natalie on was just kind of to talk about, reflect a little bit on the previous 4 years, right, of all kind of working together. Natalie's been serving on the board a little bit longer than us, fulfilling that Ward 1 position.
She got like 4 months on us, I think, or something like that.
Yeah, she got a little bit of a head start on us. So she's been in office.
We go way back. We were on the planning commission together.
Y'all were on the planning commission. That's right. No, yes, absolutely. And so we wanted to kind of reflect on that a little bit. And Natalie, what do you really think in the last 4 years? What do you think you'll remember the most about this first 4 years of serving in office?
Well, I think it's been a great 4 years. I think I'll remember our group probably the most. I think we worked really well together and got a lot of things accomplished. Paving for one, that's been a huge thing. We've done a lot of work with our parks. We've purchased the Civic Center. We've started construction on a new quad of ball fields. We were able to get that grant from the state to add more to Renasant Park with the disc golf and the pavilions and bathrooms, parking, things we've kind of already talked about. We've streamlined a few things. I know this is kind of small, but we all have city email addresses now. That was not...
Womp, womp.
Well, okay. Listen, before
we
were there, you had to
You're
go to
right,
the
you're right,
website
yeah.
and find
Yeah.
somebody's AOL account
or
and
Gmail or whatever.
you know,
You're right.
whatever it was. Now we're all the same. You know, we've done a lot with our fire department. We've added an ambulance. We've added the staff for that ambulance. We've
All the police officers.
all the police officers. You know, we've just we're in the middle of a comprehensive plan. I mean, that's really more the planning department. We haven't really done a whole lot with that, but we're encouraging that. That's going to be a really big deal. It should be, you know, adopted by the end of the year. So it's been good.
And I know that we have the MML coming up next month, Mississippi Municipal League Conference coming up next month, and I know that I'm on the basic level. I'm like a basic certified municipal official. You're like at PhD level now or something, right? What's
Well, I've got basic and advanced,
okay.
and then professional is the third and last level. Chad, I think you're advanced too.
Yeah, I got advanced.
I'm playing catch up here.
We might can finish professional this summer, maybe.
I think that's the plan for me. I think I got 2 classes I have to do,
yeah,
something like
pretty
that.
close.
Wow.
Pretty close.
And then we'll be like Andrew, you know, who's got like 600 hours or whatever, you know.
That's right.
Thousands of hours.
That's right. It's great to have his experience on the board, and I think we're going to have him on a future episode as well.
We're going to have him and Bruce is going to do an episode kind of like Natalie's doing. So, but Bruce is like on the beach every other day, so we got to kind of catch him.
If we were recording it like at a golf clubhouse, we would probably just run into Bruce and we'd be like, hey, can you?
We'll just talk to Kim. We'll schedule it with Kim. That's how we'll get him.
That
He
may be
can call in, right?
That's a good way to do it for sure. So that's looking back at the 4 years, definitely a lot of things that were accomplished, and now we're going into a second term. We're all continuing to work together. What do you hope to accomplish? What are some things that you would like to prioritize going forward? Do you think?
Well, I think, like I said, the comprehensive plan, I don't know if y'all listened to the Planning Commission this week, but it was sort of preliminary results were presented, and there's going to require a lot of input over the next few months from the Planning Commission, from the aldermen, from the public too. I mean, we really, I really like to get public input. It seems like that's a difficult thing to get. That's one thing. If we could somehow figure out a better way to get some citizens engaged in what we're talking about, and because we really do want their input. I mean, there's 7 of us plus the mayor, and we can, we all have great ideas, but there's almost 20,000 people that live here, so we want to hear from them too. I want to continue working on little details around town that.
You didn't mention the street signs you came up with.
That's what I was about to say. So I want to keep continuing some little details that, I remember when we all ran 4 years ago and all of us did the Under the Water Tower podcast.
Yes.
And they said, you can't say that you want small town charm because everybody wants that. Well, so we do all want that.
Yeah.
And so I think that things like, we standardize the street signs. We restored the historic concrete street signs. We've repainted all the water towers. Just little things like that are unique to our town. I think we need to keep going with that. 4 years ago, we all kind of talked about we'd like some more, like some new welcome signs at all of the the major entrances. Highway 51. We have some small ones, but it'd be nice. More trees around town, I think, would be. I'd like to see some trees on the linear park. I don't know if y'all probably walked or run that. And
I'm familiar with the linear park.
Yeah, in the summertime, it gets, it could be nice to have some shade there. Continuing to support our first responders, our fire and police. I mean, I think safety is one thing that we all cherish about Hernando. I mean, I know I can get out of my car and at the UPS store, and I don't have to worry that somebody's going to break into it. We're not far from areas where that's not the case. So, one thing that I think comes to light when we have a storm like we just did a few weeks ago is we need to continue working on our contingency fund and building that up. You know, we had this storm 2 years ago. We had that other wind event, some straight line winds.
Yeah.
And that just, I mean, that costs a lot of money.
Yeah, just the debris pickup is just crazy. So
Crazy. You know, we have to call in contractors, and so anytime we can have more of like an emergency fund, you know, that would be great.
And I think just piggybacking off that, I think the citizens may think we get like money from the state or from the federal government when we have events like that, and when they're not, you know, just so much damage, we don't. So we haven't got anything from the state, anything from the county. The city is paying for those all that by ourselves. So just so
And
people
honestly,
understand that.
I don't know if people realize this, but you know, you had tornadoes that hit Tate County, right? Governor Tate Reeves, announced MEMA aid to counties that were affected by natural disasters earlier in the year, and Tate County wasn't one of them. So you can have something that is super destructive that happens in your community and still not necessarily qualify for MEMA aid.
There's a really crazy formula that calculates if you qualify or not. Basically, so you got to have a lot of uninsured homes and things like that, which fortunately we don't have in our area. And so it's going to have to be a really traumatic incident to really qualify for some of those things. So, and like Chip was saying, just the straight line thing was like $65,000 worth of just to pick up from contractors during that event, and that was nothing compared to this. So
I mean, I've heard this. I've heard that and I hate to say I've heard, but like, I mean, that's literally what it is. I think we've gone over $200,000 in debris pickup with our contractors so far, and you know, unfortunately, we have to cut that off at some point and just say, listen, it's just going to have to be a little bit of a wait, and we only have so much that we can allocate for that.
Yeah, we only have 4 trucks. And you know they can't run 24 hours a day. The guys got to take a break. So,
All right.
I asked if they would let me do it, and they were like, "No, you don't like. I don't think that would be a good idea." So, I tried. We did have
talk about your dumpsters.
Yeah, we did try to think outside the box a little bit, and you know, we threw out the idea of having some dumpsters located across town in case you wanted to bring your debris to those. Those are only for that's only for, you know, foliage and limbs and vegetation. It's not for, you know, ping pong tables, which I heard a ping pong table got thrown in one of them. We had to fish that out. So please just put your limbs and debris in there. And I know that some people may have the criticism like, well, they're asking us to do something they should do. Listen, we're just trying to offer other points of collection where, you know, if you have you know, somebody in your household that's like, I am like sick of looking at all that stuff sitting at the road. If you can put it in your truck and get it there, we will happily collect it there, and then it'll be out of your front yard and be good to go. So it's just other points of collection there, and we'll have to put those on we'll have to share the post.
Yeah, when it comes to events like this, I mean, everybody kind of has to work together. I mean, the city's doing more above and beyond, and we're just trying to make it easy. Another thing about that too is just remember to separate your brush from your household items. The city made a good post about it yesterday, I believe, that you know, we're burning a lot of these limbs, and we can't pick up, you know, an old dresser and the limbs and burn those together. So it would make it more efficient if you can separate your items on the curb.
And if it's in plastic bags, the plastic, well, you can't burn the plastic up because I guess that's not a good thing, obviously. So if you have anything that's in a plastic bag, it's probably the fastest way to get that picked up is probably just throw it in the trash at that point. So, but yeah, we're all trying to get in it together. You know, I think that's the main message is that we're not necessarily trying to pass off any duties to the citizens or anything. It's just saying, hey, listen, if you want to pitch in, this is a way for you to pitch in. So we definitely appreciate everybody cooperating on that. Got a little off track, but because Natalie's got, I'm sure, more she wants to say.
Got a couple more things. I'd love to see our meeting packets digitized online. I think, Chad.
Oh my gosh.
Chad would like to see that
Just
too.
struck by lightning over here.
Come on.
that would be, I think, just beneficial. I don't know how many people would read it, but if a couple did, I think that would be something nice, nice to have. I would like to maybe form a committee or something. I think this is one of the things we all talked about, but it's just not happened yet. To review all our ordinances, and there's probably some out there some old ones that we don't know. It'd be nice to just kind of go through those, see how relevant they still are, and if there's anything that needs to be addressed, anything that needs to be changed, or anything like that. Another thing, I think we all agree, the Commerce Street exit.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of the new train situation.
Ben says he's going to get the money for that next year, he told me.
Okay.
Wow. All of it in 1 year?
Yeah.
It can't be like over a 10-year period or something like that.
No.
It's $125 million, so that's a pretty big ask. But we also have, this is something for people to think about. In 2027, it's right around the corner. I know that it probably seems like a long way away, but the reason 2027 is coming soon is all these people are starting to announce they're running for governor, lieutenant governor, whatever position.
So early, man.
If you get a chance to go to some of these events when these people are coming to speak, ask them about Commerce Street exit. If everybody that is in Hernando would just would really stay on these folks about that, and we can get them to commit to doing something about it if they're elected. I think it would make a huge difference, because it really is something that has been going on for so long, and there's design work that needs to happen. There's engineering work that needs to happen. It's not something that's going to happen overnight. I think that we've talked about it every time we've gone to Hernando High School to talk to some of the students up there, that it's not something that you just replace at one time. You have to collapse a bridge and rebuild, and then build one side up and redirect traffic and all that stuff. I mean, it is going to be an absolute mess whenever it gets done. And we can't even get to that part of the conversation because we can't seem to even get the money for the engineering for it. So
I think Doc wouldn't mind. Doc submitted a bill this year to get $21 million, over $7 million over 3 years to pay for the engineering, and it got nowhere. So, I think our legislators are trying. There's not support at the state level from the majority of the state Senate and House to do anything. And that is the dangerous part of Interstate 55. The whole corridor is through DeSoto County. So.
I don't know, when we had, we were fortunate enough to have Governor Reeves on our podcast.
He said he wanted
it
all the way to
three-laned all the way to Batesville, and it's like
that's what he said.
That's billions of dollars, and maybe that's what you have to ask for.
But I think, to be fair to the legislator, I think that would be the largest project they allocated money to in their history for an expansion. The coast, they use Hurricane Katrina money to redo I-10 there, and so we don't have that option here. So that it's a big ask and a big spend, but it's needed. So hopefully we'll keep chipping away at it.
When the comprehensive plan presentation was going on Tuesday night, he mentioned that it's going to look forward to 2045 is what they're looking at. And he mentioned that in that time period, they're projecting another 6,000 to 8,000 people.
I believe it. Yeah.
To move to Hernando, which is, if we think it's difficult now.
And we've touched on this before, and it's something that I've mentioned to folks as well, is that there are also things that are outside of the city of Hernando's control in the county. There's development that occurs in the county just outside the city limits, and those folks use the streets in Hernando, and they go to our grocery stores and all that stuff, and that it adds to some of the congestion that we see. So even the best laid plans for the city, you have to take into account things that are completely out of your control as well. So that's what can make it really difficult.
We have a lot of growth. I see a lot of that growth being at around the new high school in that area. So I think that will help some, but that always is going to be an issue, the I-55 Commerce Street interchange. So
absolutely.
I don't think we can economically do anything more than what we're doing as far as, and we can't. The city doesn't have millions of dollars to put into something like that. That has to be a state and federal project. So, and DeSoto County's got the big DeCrua issue that's impacting that too. So,
Natalie, looking back on the last 4 years, what do you think? What What's the biggest thing you feel like you've learned in the last 4 years? Like what are, if you can think of something that's just, wow, this was you hate to call it a light bulb moment. That's like corporate speak, but one of those things that, wow, that you didn't know that you've learned in the last 4 years, or something that you really took away from it.
He went to Ole Miss journalism school. He's always got these questions.
Is that an unfair question? Come on, Chad. I'm just trying to. I'm just coming up with. I was a little off the cuff there.
Well, just overall, you grow up, you go to school, you take civics, you learn all the things, government. You think you know how government works, but until you get in there, you really don't quite understand all the different levels of it. And so I think just overall, just really understanding, how government works, the role of the government. There's a lot of things that we can and cannot do based on state law. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. A lot of people would like us to fix things in their yards, and mm-hmm. legally, we just can't do that.
Yep.
So it's just been great getting to know all the different city employees. We've got great employees. We've got really good directors. I mean, it's been fun just learning all the ins and outs of city business.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with that 100%. I mean, it is really something that I think anyone that ever puts their name on a ballot in a city we still are a small town in Hernando. We still are a small town in the grand scheme of things. If you have somebody that puts their name on the ballot, it's because they really care about helping people. I think they really care about the community a lot, and it is frustrating when you run into safeguards that the state government has put into place so that you can't do things. And it's like, look, I can't help you. I wish I could. Yeah. Because sometimes I think people read that as like, well, you just don't care.
Right.
It's like, no, it's not that. We just literally, I can't do that, or I will get in we will get in trouble, so we can't do it. That is definitely a tough lesson to be learned for sure. Sure. Absolutely. Well, Natalie, anything else you got for us? I know that we try to keep our episodes around that 30, 45 minute mark. Anything else you want to leave our listeners with?
I think the last thing I would like to say is I think Hernando is supported by some really great civic and service organizations, and they partner well with the city, and I'd really like to keep those relationships, like, for instance, the Chamber of Commerce, the Hernando Civic Garden Club that we talked about earlier, the Hernando Young Women's Club that is, donated a lot of park equipment, the Crew of Hernando that has donated a lot of park equipment and does stuff for the teachers, the Hernando Women's Club, they do the lights around the square. I mean, it's just so many things, like I said, the details that help make our town unique. I just want to continue fostering those relationships and let all those groups know, and the ones that I haven't mentioned, I mean, Rotary, Optimist, Saddle Club, everything that they do for our town. I just appreciate it, and I just want to keep working with them, and just like that they keep doing good stuff for everybody.
That's a great call out, and
that's good.
We do it is coming up soon. The Crew of Hernando Tee Off for Teachers tournament is coming up. I think the teams are sold out, but there's still whole sponsorships available, tent sponsorships available. That tournament is, I think the presenting sponsor is Skylight Construction, so that is a tournament where all the money that's raised goes right back into the classroom for teacher grants. Teachers can apply for up to $500 for field trips and projects and books and all different kind of things for their classroom. So it's a great tournament. It's always a great time.
And also, the Chamber's doing the Sunset on the Square.
Sunset on the Square is coming up on Thursdays, right?
Tonight,
yeah.
Last Thursday got rained out last Thursday, but they should be there tonight.
Casey Johns tonight.
I think I'm going.
You're going? All right. Let's make it happen. Hope for no rain. Hope for no rain. We got 5-on-5 soccer that's going on out there at the soccer fields. I know baseball season is still going on, and there's been a lot of
team?
I'm not.
Me and Natalie's got a kickball team.
Y'all go for it. I'll come out and watch. I'll come out and watch y'all do some kickball. I'll be in the cheering section.
Okay.
Oh, and let's give a shout out to our Miss Mississippi contestants.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
We've got
3, right?
3 that graduated from Hernando High School out of 33. So hoping
You got a
that
good chance.
some of them make it in the top 10. Competition started last night.
Where is it? Is that in Vicksburg?
It's in Vicksburg. I'm headed down this afternoon to go support the girls,
Yeah.
especially Hannah Grace Crane. I'm rooting for her.
There
And
you go.
so-
Vicksburg got a new mayor, Ben. Did you know that?
Oh, really?
George Flagg got beat.
Really? Well, I did not know that. He's been the mayor for a while. Interesting. Is Miss Mississippi? That's tough. Golly, Miss Mississippi. Is that televised? Can people watch that if they're not able to make it down to Vicksburg? Do you know? I don't know.
You can, if you want to watch it live, there's a subscription fee.
Okay.
You can go to the Miss Mississippi website and it'll give you a link.
They do it in Vicksburg every year, don't they? Isn't that kind of where the host of it?
For
Be a long
50,
time.
60 something years, yeah. And
Okay.
but you can watch it after the fact for free at the same spot. But big night Saturday. So.
Okay.
Well, good luck to all the contestants that are associated with Hernando. Everybody else, good luck trying to beat Hernando at something. We're usually really good at everything. So, good luck to everybody. We appreciate Natalie Lynch joining us, Ward 1 Alderman. She has been serving the city faithfully the last 4 years with me and
Yes.
Chad. So we appreciate her joining us.
Looking for
the
another
time
4
today.
years. Get a lot of stuff done.
Yeah, we got a lot ahead of us. So, but for now, that's all we've got for you this week. We'll be joining you again here in about another week or so with another alderman. I think we'll have Alderman Miller come up next. But for now, I'm Ward 6 Alderman Ben Piper.
Ward 4 Alderman Chad Wicker.
Thanks for listening.
Waiting